If you carry a gun in your truck, does that make you paranoid or does it make you prepared? Well, let's talk about it. I post a lot of short form gun content. And on these videos, I'll get a lot of comments saying, if it's so unsafe where you live, just move, or only in the United States would you need a gun to protect yourself. And they're acting like walking around the United States, there's just gunfights everywhere. I'm 27, and the only time I've ever seen any gun violence in the United States was when I was working at Moo Moo's, which was a yogurt bar, and I actually got held up at gunpoint. But I'll tell that story later. I live in Conway, Arkansas, which is a safe area. I live in the suburbs. So you're asking, Zach, why would you need a gun in that neighborhood? That doesn't make any sense. But it may shock you, sometimes I actually leave my neighborhood. Some of the favorite comments that I get is saying, a man doesn't need a gun. I take Taekwondo and I could fight him off, you know? And it's like, yeah, that's not always a great option. No matter how good of a fighter you are, if you're outnumbered, you're going to get beat up, possibly killed, and why would you take that chance? Another thing they just love to say is, you don't value human life. And it's like, I value my life, that's why I have a gun. Or they're going to hit you with people like this just want to shoot somebody. They're just waiting for an opportunity to get to use that gun. And it's like, no, we don't want to use a gun. That's the last thing we want to do. It's just like with the same reason we have a fire extinguisher. We don't want to use a fire extinguisher. If it comes to a fire, we're glad we have it. The same reason I have something in the back to air at my tires. I don't want to pop a tire. That's the last thing I want to be doing. But if I have a flat, I'm glad I have something to air at my tires. The one that takes the cake, though, just the comment that is golden, is civilians shouldn't be armed. Just wait for the cops to show up. That's the safest way. And it's like, have you seen America? Have you seen how big it is? We have people that live out in the country where it will take 20 to 30 minutes for a cop to even get out there. What are they supposed to do for 30 minutes? A gun's never going to be my first choice. If I can get out of there, if I can drive away, I'm going to drive away and avoid the situation completely. Drive away, call the cops, have them handle it. I used to watch this show where this guy could do an ocular pat down and assess all the threats on somebody. I can't do that, so I just have to do the best I can. I do have this. This is a defensive spray, can shoot 5 to 6 feet. So if I can drive away, I drive away. If I can pepper spray, I pepper spray. If I have to pull out a gun, that's last case situation. Now, for transparency, I do work with a company called Kwick Strike. They gave me a promo code to use their gun box. But even if you don't use their gun box, I still highly recommend carrying a gun and practicing your Second Amendment right. If you can avoid it, you should never put your safety in the hands of someone else, like the cops, waiting for them to get there. They give you the right to protect yourself. Self-defense is a right we have in America, so I would exercise that right. Now, that being said, I highly recommend that you look up and see exactly how they define self-defense. If someone's running away or the problem's completely de-escalated, you're not allowed to shoot anybody, and you shouldn't want to shoot anybody. The situation's over. Just get out of there. Call the cops. Do the whole situation. You're going to have to do some paperwork. No one likes to do paperwork, but learn exactly what self-defense is. Lord forbid you ever have to use your gun in a self-defensive situation. But if you do, the advice that I was given was to call the cops and tell them that you had to use your gun in self-defense. Tell them where you are and wait for them to arrive. Before they do arrive, you take the gun, take the magazine out, make sure everything's unchambered, leave that on the ground. Then you're going to have your license out, and if you have one, you're going to have your concealed carry license out as well. And then you give that to the cops when they come, and then you're not going to talk to the cops at all until you get legal representation. When I'm inside my truck, I like to have my gun box right here, where I could just push that knob with my leg if I needed the gun. It does have a lock. If I ever get pulled over and there's a cop at my window, I would lock this up so this doesn't accidentally pop out. Once the gun is deployed, you're not going to be able to push this back down until you hit the release knob here. So you have your gun that pops out. What you're going to do is grab the gun, push down, and then you're going to be able to pull. And then to put it back, you would push down here and then put it back. So you would try to grab that as fast as you can. And then to put it back when everything is de-escalated, you would put it there, hit this knob, and then that's going to let you reset the box. Now, me personally, I think the Kwick Strike is just extremely cool. I'm going to be a little bit biased because they sent me that unit for free, so take that with a grain of salt. but we have done a few different tests with people having the gun on them still, and the seatbelt sometimes can get in the way, costing you, a second or half a second there, which could be valuable time if you wanted to put it in the gun box. It could be slightly inconvenienced to put the gun in the gun box and then take the gun out of the gun box. I do understand that, but it could save you a second, half a second there compared to your normal draw time. Putting this into slow motion, you can see he's reaching for the gun, and that seatbelt slowed him down just a half a second, maybe a second there. Without the seatbelt, he was able to get that out pretty quick though. Kwick Strike was also nice enough to give me a promo code, so if you use ZAC10 at checkout, you're going to be able to save, I think, around $50 off of the gun box. Getting back to the question that I opened up with, does carrying a gun make you paranoid or prepared? Well, there's some people that are going to call you paranoid no matter what you do, no matter how much you lay it out for them. They're just going to think you're paranoid, and you're just going to have to live with that. I don't think, personally, that you're paranoid for wanting to have a tool that can be used to protect your life or your loved one's life. Now, to be fair, a lot of the people that comment that there should be no guns in America and that you shouldn't carry a gun with you whenever you're driving, those comments came from people who don't live in America. They've never been to America. They never plan to visit America. They have it made up in their mind what America is, and you're not going to be able to change it. One thing that you have to consider is every country is going to have a different situation. There are smaller countries out there that have a ton of natural resources. They're going to have a lot of money. They're going to have strict immigration laws for people trying to get in to move there. And a lot of people aren't going to be able to afford to live there because there's so much money there. And they're going to have lower crime rates because poverty and crime have a correlation. Ironically, some of the bigger cities in America are where you see the most gun violence, and they have the strictest gun laws. I may have gotten off topic a tiny bit here and there during this video, but my main point is, in America, you have the right to self-defense. If you're going to be driving around, you cannot control who comes up to your window. You can't control the evil around you. There's going to be violent crimes no matter where you are in this world. I'm glad in America, we have the tools and the right to protect ourselves in those situations. I also have 3 sisters and a mom. They're all small women, and they would not have a fighting chance if a group tried to attack them or do any type of evil. So I would love for them to have a fighting chance and be able to save their life potentially with a gun. This is why I think every law-abiding citizen should consider carrying a gun in their truck. You never know what's going to happen. Some people are going to call you paranoid, but it's worth it just in case you're ever in that situation. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you loved the video, consider subscribing. I truly appreciate you watching this video to the end, and I'll see you guys in the next one.